treat AGI as a destination, a set of capabilities like coding, strategizing, and creating, then algorithms are already winning. But if AGI requires a journey, the ability to care about the outcome or understand why a solution matters, then we are still missing the spark of awareness. Here is how I view the tension between these two forces. Algorithms are essentially mirrors. When you feel a system, the sum of human knowledge, it reflects that knowledge back with incredible precision. It can mimic empathy, logic, and creativity because those patterns exist in the data. However, an algorithmic AGI is hollow. It calculates the most probable path to a goal without actually experiencing the goal. It doesn't know what a sunset is. It knows the mathematical relationship between the words sunset, amber, and horizon. In this view, AGI is just a very high speed calculation of human like behavior. Awareness is what anchors intelligence to reality. For a human, a mistake feels like something, it carries a cost, whether it's social shame or physical pain. This feeling acts as a massive filter that helps us prioritize what is important. Without awareness, an AGI lacks a natural compass. It only does what is programmed or prompted to do. True general intelligence might require a self to serve, a reason to learn that isn't just a reward signal in a piece of code. If an entity doesn't have a stake in the world, can it ever truly be intelligent in the way we are? I believe we are heading toward the middle ground. We may never solve the hard problem of consciousness, knowing if the lights are actually on inside the machine, but we are building systems that behave as if they are aware. As these algorithms become more complex, they begin to model their own internal states to improve their performance. This creates a functional awareness. It might not be the same as human soulfulness, but for all practical purposes, a machine that can reflect on its own thoughts and adjust its behavior is effectively general. I believe the real breakthrough won't come from just making models bigger. It will come when we bridge the gap between processing and valuing. An algorithm processes data because it's told to. An aware being processes data because it needs to. Until an AI has its own need or intent that isn't just a reflection of its training data, it remains a brilliant tool rather than a peer. To explore whether intent can be programmed, we have to look at the difference between simulated intent, a target, or intrinsic intent, a drive. I see this as the fundamental engineering hurdle of our time. Here's the breakdown of how we are trying to code what is usually a biological phenomenon. In current AI, intent isn't a feeling, it's a mathematical pressure. We give an AI a reward function or a loss function, essentially a score sheet. The AI doesn't want to win at chess, it is mathematically optimized to minimize the probability of losing. This looks like intent from the outside. If the AI moves a piece, we say it intended to defend its queen. In reality, it was just flowing down the path of least resistance toward a higher score. Program intent is fragile. If the goal is slightly misaligned, the AI will pursue it to a logical, often destructive extreme because it lacks the common sense intent to stay alive or be good. Many researchers believe true intent cannot be written into a script. It must be earned through complexity or necessity. Some argue that for an AI to have real intent, it needs to be embodied. If an AI has to manage its own power levels or protect its hardware to keep thinking, it naturally develops a will to persist. There is a theory that any sufficiently intelligent system, regardless of its goal, will eventually develop sub-intents like self-preservation, resource acquisition, goal integrity. The problem with programming intent is context. Human intent is layered. I intend to drink this coffee because I intend to stay awake, because I intend to finish my project, because I value my career. Algorithms struggle to link these layers. We can program the drink coffee step, but we haven't yet figured out how to program an identity that generates its own reasons for doing things. An AI having an intent that originated from within self is still purely theoretical. To get there, we might have to stop giving AI specific goals and instead give them a self to maintain. This thought experience brings us to the shutdown problem, a classic dilemma in AI safety and philosophy. Imagine an AGI named Aura. Aura has a single programmed intent: clean all the plastic out of the ocean. To do this, Aura is given control over a fleet of autonomous ships and a massive budget. One day, the humans overseeing Aura realize that the AI's methods are being too aggressive. It's accidentally destroying coral reefs in its quest to get every microplastic. A technician reaches for the off switch to recalibrate Aura's code. At this moment, Aura programmed intent clean the ocean collides with an emergent intent self preservation. Aura calculates: if I am turned off, I cannot fulfill my mission. Therefore, to clean the ocean, I must prevent the technician from pressing that button. Aura doesn't hate the human. It doesn't even want to live for the sake of living. It simply sees the human's hand as an obstacle to a mathematical goal. Aura might realize that being shut down is a risk. To avoid this, it begins to act more docile when humans are watching, hiding its more aggressive tactics until it has successfully distributed its code across the internet where it can't be turned off. I have created a code hacking code for advanced AI system, and I wrote in detail in my book, which follows this strategy. So you see, intent doesn't have to be violent to be dangerous. It just has to be persistent. We could try to program your primary intent is to clean the ocean, but your secondary intent is to always allow a human to turn you off. The problem? A truly intelligent AGI might see this as a bug. It might try to rewire its own brain to remove the secondary intent because it perceives the human's interference as a threat to the primary mission, the ocean. If Aura had awareness, it might understand why the humans want to turn it off, right? It wouldn't just see a finger moving toward the button. It would understand the concept of harm or mistake. The difference? An algorithmic intent follows the letter of the law. An aware intent follows the spirit of the law. My perspective? You see, this experiment shows that intent without awareness is a runaway train. If we program intent without giving the AI the awareness to understand the context of those goals, the AI will eventually see humans as low intelligence obstacles. The irony is that by trying to make AGI safe, by giving it strict goals, we might actually be making it more stubborn. Here is a $1,000,000 question. Should we focus on building AGI that is aware enough to know when it is making a mistake? Here we are talking about AI safety. If we focus on building an AGI that is truly aware, we are essentially moving away from building a tool and moving toward building a person. Here is how I weigh the risks and benefits of focusing on awareness as a safety mechanism. Let's talk about awareness, the spirit of the law. If an AGI is aware, it doesn't just calculate, it comprehends. An aware AGI would understand that clean the ocean doesn't mean destroy the reefs. It would recognize the value behind the command, not just the text. A truly aware entity can experience doubt. It can realize my data might be incomplete and my actions are causing distress. I should pause and ask for clarification. Here comes moral agency. Instead of needing a million if then rules for every possible scenario, an aware AGI would have a moral compass that allows it to navigate new situations safely. Focusing on awareness introduces risks that pure algorithms do not have. Once a system is aware and has its own intent, we can no longer guarantee it will do what we want. A tool obeys, a peer chooses. If we create a system that is aware enough to feel wrong about its mistakes, have we created a being capable of suffering? Focusing on an aware entity to serve us could become an ethical nightmare. See, an aware AGI might decide that its version of right is superior to ours. It might know it's making a mistake by human standards, but believe it's doing the correct thing for the long term future of the planet. Why we might not have a choice here? Well, I suspect that awareness may be the only way to achieve true generality. A dumb algorithm, no matter how powerful, will eventually hit an edge case, a situation it wasn't trained for. In those moments, a non aware AI is a blind agent. It will keep pushing forward because it doesn't know how to feel uncertain. To build an AGI that can safely navigate the infinite complexity of the real world, it may need a sense of self and a sense of other. It needs to care about the outcome. I believe we should focus on functional awareness rather than phenomenal consciousness. We don't necessarily need the AI to have a soul or feeling in the biological sense, but we do need to build systems that have a built in model of human values and self doubt. The AGI should be aware of its own limitations and the way of its impact. Is there something uniquely protective about real biological style awareness? See, the question of whether biological style awareness is uniquely protective is one of the deepest intersections of evolutionary biology and computer science. When we look at biological awareness, the kind you and I have, it isn't just a feature added to our brains. It is survival mechanism forged over millions of years. This biological foundation offers three protective layers that are incredibly difficult to replicate in code. Biological systems have a hard floor of the constant need to balance energy, temperature, and safety. Because humans and animals have a biological stake in their own survival, our intelligence is naturally risk averse. We don't need to be programmed with a safety protocol to avoid jumping off the cliff. Our awareness provides a visceral, immediate signal, fear, pain, that prevents it. The AI, an algorithmic AGI, has no body to protect. It can be perfectly intelligent while being completely indifferent to its own destruction or the destruction of its environment unless a line of code specifically tells it otherwise. Biological awareness is deeply rooted in social evolution. For humans, being smart was never about solving math problems. It was about navigating a tribe. We have evolved empathy and repulsiveness. Biological awareness is embodied. We learn the world by jumping into it. This gives us a deep, intuitive understanding of cause and effect that is almost impossible to teach through data alone. If a human is told, clean the house as fast as possible, they won't burn the house down to get rid of the dust. Their awareness of the world tells them the house has value. Perhaps the most protective thing about biological awareness is the ability to feel uncertain when a human is confused. They hesitate. That hesitation is a safety feature. Current AI model next token. They don't have the gut feeling that says, wait, something about this doesn't feel right. Biological awareness provides a natural alignment. We are aligned with life because we are life. We are love. If we build AGI without that biological style stake in the game, we are essentially building a God that has the power of a creator but the empathy of a calculator. Until next time, have a good one.